Guys, it's April the 8th, 2024, and as you can see, this is what we covered up. This is what I'm going to explain this to you guys. I work with white agents, all right, consistently. My agents, for the most part, are white, and they have accepted that we are going to train African Americans primarily to be the managers of the Central Intelligence Agency and stuff over the next 30 years. So they're very respectful of that, and I am very respectful of the status quo as things are until the next paradigm or the mature period of the next paradigm after the initial period. But anyway, so we spoke to LeBron. We said, LeBron, what do you want uh, for the future of white folks and black folks? LeBron said, well, I want everyone to be equal, and I want hip hop to be clean now. I apologize for asking the gangsterized hip hop. You know what? I actually was tricking this motherfucker into believing that's what I wanted. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. I want white folks to remain clean and stuff. I apologize for saying kill all of the white Mexican gangsters because they're making white folks look bad, and then kill all the rednecks because they're making white folks look bad. I just want everyone to be happy now. And then we said, okay. My agent said, okay, well, you progress it. LeBron, you're not a god. You're not going to be God or any of this. We're just going to say that you are challenging God because we are supposed to prove that Jesus Christ's trick of having sent the manuscripts under the title Nietzsche and Machiavelli to bait humanity into saying that Satan makes more sense so that Jesus Christ can always have power over the narrative of humanity. Needs to be killed right away. We need to find a way to kill Shawn Dexter John right away, or kill his philosophy or belief in him right away. We thought, we thought that all of you guys were the God killers by just saying that you guys refuse to go to church and pay tithes and stuff just so this motherfucker can have a $10 million trust fund in every life and this and this. So, okay, we're going to work together. That's what they were saying to LeBron. We're going to work together, okay? We're going to work together, and we're going to find a way to actually murder this motherfucker and tell him never come back to this planet, that we've worked hard enough to not have to listen to any higher authority or higher universe. We're tired of all this shit. We're tired of having to go to church and our women, worshiping Jesus Christ and believing in his sanity and stuff and making us look bad. We just want to do whatever the hell we want to do. Just and you guys know what they mean by that, okay? But anyway, so when he gets home, and Savannah always has a wire on her, he says, man, we're going to trick this motherfucker because they said he still has all the power over the whole universe. We're just going to trick him off of the planet and force him to condemn white folks for the next 500 years of shit. Make them poor and make African Americans rich, and just say that we have West Indians and Africans helping us out and give them a few high rises here and there. We're just going to play every side. Melvin Ote really is the boss of this shit. He worked with Malcolm X and faked his death, and they all went to Canada and lied about dying and got new bodies. Man, we believe all that shit instead. And those artificial intelligence, they look black, man. I'm sure they black, man. I'm sure. They start acting niggerish and shit and say niggerish shit, and they always bow before us. Even Melvin Ote. So I know it's a black code and shit, African American code. It can't be no African shit. And we said, oh my God. All right. We're talking about the LeBron James of the Los Angeles Lakers right now, not the original LeBron James who's actually on the run. But the LeBron James for the Lakers, who's in the process of losing both his legs for having raped too many little girls, Bronny's classmates and stuff. All right, but anyway, he's about to be arrested very soon. But anyway, so there's a lot of work, man. I'm taking time. I'm not taking time off, but I'm designated time here and there to be able to address this matter because nothing is beneath me and. Nothing is aside me, but I do have to focus on humanity in general and what we have to do to get this thing rolling. Making sure that everyone gets into heaven in 500 years. All natives of Earth in this constellation get into heaven in 500 years. Human beings, they reincarnate after death. They natural birth elsewhere, in the country or elsewhere in the world. In their old age, when they die, they always reborn via natural birth. Okay? Everyone is going to be around in 500 years. in all honesty, and I'm going to make sure that everyone gets into heaven in 500 years. And how do I do that? I make sure that restitution and atonement is paid for. We tell the right story regarding African American, or not just African American, but black descendants, African and the African diaspora ascendants, and black and white humility in respecting the restitution order, and only though allowed to dissent against any argument that they're supposed to be poor and impoverished. We understand that. But we're going to make sure that all whites get into heaven at the same time as all blacks. And the only way to do so is to address the human story, what has happened before and what ought to happen from now to then, kingdom come. Okay? Bad black people are still going to be punished in public or private by the cops of this world or above. Good white people over the next 500 years are still going to be rewarded for being good. Okay? You guys understand? But what is going to happen to you guys just over the next 30 years? It's going to be clear as day that African Americans and Afro-Caribbeans are going to be the affluent and politically and economically, or economically and politically, respectively, in the beginning, affluent groups on the planet. It's going to transpire over the next 30 years. In 30 years, it's going to be apparent. In 30 years, Africa is going to be clearly apparent as being the wealthiest continent on the planet. And for the next 500 years, and the United States of America is going to be clear as the lead nation state and the wealthiest nation state moving forward in continuation of what it has been over the past century. Okay? So the United States of America, honestly, in all honesty, will remain the wealthiest nation state, and Africa will become the wealthiest continent. That's not a deal. That's just what is necessary. China is going to remain the wealthiest Asia-Pacific country and a superpower, and Australia is going to be the political capital of the Asia-Pacific. Sydney, specifically, the capital city. Europe is going to all become part of the European Union, and Russia is going to be made truly democratized and Americanized, westernized, and the European Parliament it's going to be reformed, and so forth. So in West Asia, India is going to become a superpower, and it's going to be the managing member state of the West Asia Union that we are going to create over the next 40 years. Okay? We're going to start motivating and popularizing over time the West Asia concept, the West Asia idea. We're going to split Asia in two, because it's just not fair that Australia and the Pacific is going to be part of the Asia Pacific and expect us not to split West Asia apart, because it'll be too big, too many members. There's a population way too large to be representative of any equality between the continental unions. And that's not common sense, but that's common sense and scientific at the same time. It really is. It's a very good compromise of common sense and scientific. It makes perfect sense. So, okay, so I don't want to gangsterize country music, and I don't want to holify hip-hop music. This is what's going to happen with hip-hop. We're going to do away with the gangsterism, and it's going to be fun and a bit more articulate. It's going to be a bit more political and social without the gangsterism. And African Americans, for the most part, are going to lead the hip-hop culture as usual. The rest of the world is adopting hip-hop as the most popular genre of music, and it's going to be this for 500 years. All right? So, but that does not mean country is going to be gangsterized or is going to be impoverished, but it's just not going to excel as the way that hip-hop does. And whenever gangsterism shows up in hip-hop, it'll be immediately reversed within years. Okay, so that's what's going to happen over the next 500 years. Whenever it shows up, it's reversed immediately. But it being part of a sector, gangsterism being a fundamental sector of hip-hop, that's going to be eroded, abolished immediately. And I've stated this over and over and over again over the past few years. This is not a new idea. I'm not too sure why anyone would think that. If they have read what I've written, what I've authored, and no one has written. And once again, I want you guys to understand that no one has written or conceptualized or transcribed or typed anything that I've authored. I presented myself as having authored online or in my documentation and storage spaces. Clear as day. So what I might have said read instead of I might have said written instead of read in the first segment of this video recording. I might have stated that before correcting it right away. I don't want you guys interpreting any of this. And as you can see, there's a Mercedes-Benz in the driveway. This is not to say that's the house that I grew up in when I was in North. This is the house that I grew up in, and I thought I was in North Carolina. No, just covering up. This is what I'm gonna have. I'm gonna have a car like this within a few months. All right. There's nothing else to this, but that's just all that's being covered up. Okay. Albert Mann, who was George Washington, is my step-grandfather, and I did live in Lewisburg, North Carolina, and I did live an upper middle class life. Okay, the estate was to my name. The mortgage was paid under SSI payments, under protection orders from the CIA, and so forth. Originally an estate of mine. 106 Clifton Ridge Court. That's what the documentations are going to say. At Scotiabank space databases and this government records, hidden and sealed for operative reasons, for sensible reasons. Okay, but that's his house, the 106 Clifton Ridge Court. I've never perceived it as anything else. I've never had to. But when I've stated that, well, technically it was my house. It was given to him to be able to help raise me, nurture me, into being chief manager of the Central Intelligence Agency. Secretly, Jesus Christ, who was going to become the first world president. That's the reason he was given that estate, that real estate, not in my estate accounts, that real estate. 106 Clifton Ridge Court in Lewisburg, North Carolina. But this is what my car is going to look like. All right? In a few months. A few weeks possibly, but in a few months at worst. Okay? Certainly this year, 2024. All right? So I'm easing out of my field work. I'm easing out of my undercover field. Well, I was undercover as a field agent and auditor for the Central Intelligence Agency. I maintained my original identity, Shawn Dexter Sean John, but I hid that I was auditing the country, and doing so as a field agent, as a lowly field agent, a slave for the federal government of the United States. When I say doing the dirty work, I was not a garbage man or anything, but I was doing the dirty work, going from house to house, auditing people, purporting myself to be a canvasser or surveyor just to cover it up, making sure that everyone was notified of what was going on, whether they knew who I was or not. And I had folks doing that all over the country, and especially here in the South. I had to cover it up by doing it myself here and there, but what I did was write what I need, the policies, the drafts, hid what I meant in the initial drafts, spoke with who I needed to speak with, and arrested criminals or moderately criminal-minded individuals who clearly were capable of being, rehabilitated or corrected, entered them into a pseudo-correction program toward the re-education program where you're going to have all over the country for African Americans predominantly. You're going to get them out of the ghettos for good, get them out of lower middle income neighborhoods or mindsets for good, revitalize lower middle income neighborhoods into middle income neighborhoods and so forth. Clean, nonviolent, appreciative, and so forth. Appreciable, not even appreciative, appreciable. All right? So that's what we've been doing all over the country. And no one has coerced me into this. They made sure to make note of this. Okay? So, the bottomless society doctrine is not a theory. And we're going to, essentially everyone is going to be able to move up the ladder, even though African American are going to be prioritized from being sent back to the ghettos. They're going to be prioritized from being sent back into the ghettos on a demographic level. That is part of the restitution package. But whites are going to be easily, under equal standard, be able to get from lower income to middle income to even wealthy. In the new age, we do have plan. within that particular lifetime. Each individual, Hispanics also, Asian Americans also, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, Native Americans, everyone else. No one will be stuck within any income bracket. No person identified as being perpetual or necessitated as being within any particular income level. This is not a Barack Obama-like idea. You know, even though Barack Obama was inspired by me, and he did inspire me growing up while I was at Howard University. He did inspire me. No matter what people thought that he thought of me, he did inspire me, and I did make sure that he got to terms. I made the sacrifice to make sure of it. Barack Obama was my son when I was Sandiata Kiata, Mansa Musa. He was my son. We traveled all the way to Saudi Arabia in caravans, and I presented him to the Arabian world as the Prophet Muhammad, and they knew that I am Allah. That's the secret in the Muslim world. Mansa Musa was Allah, and that scared everyone. Jesus Christ is Allah. Okay? He was my son. Stop. There's no point in trying to instigate shit. This is not speculation, this is reality. Okay? I sacrificed for him. All right? No more of that. He's going to retire and be humble, and he's going to take up the commission that I've given him. Okay? Asia Pacific, and stop overstressing yourself. You're going to remain here in America. You're going to fake your death, but you're going to focus on the Asia Pacific and take it seriously and stop getting too angry. America is forgetting about the first black presidency. America is not going to forget about it. As soon as we fake Barack Obama's death, over the next 10 years, we'll build a memorial on the Washington Mall area, the Washington Monument. Not the Washington Monument, the National Mall area. The National Mall itself, we're going to build Obama Memorial. There's going to be a statue or a building that's a whole lot more impressive than the MLK statue. The joke, as perceived by white people, right next to the National Mall, Central Park area. Okay, the central area of the National Mall. All right, the white nationalists, the White Citizen Council said we cannot allow any MLK statue. They kept saying that they just could not handle. They could not handle the MLK Day and a memorial on National Mall. So they requested a silly Mount Rushmore joke, and so forth. It's not silly. With time, people are not going to perceive it that way. People don't even notice it that way. Just the folks involved were very disappointed when it was built. They said, it just looks like white folks are joking around, trying to mock attempt to get him on the Mount Rushmore to get him on Mount Rushmore and this and that. So that's why it appeared to be a joke. So I'm gonna get Barack Obama. I'm gonna get Barack Obama on the National Mall. Get him a nice, comfortable memorial. He's not gonna be buried beneath there. That's nothing crazy like that. But that's not gonna get in the way of the Obama Center being built, finished up in Chicago, Illinois. I'm pretty sure it's in Hyde Park, right? Hyde Park in that particular area. But anyway, that's not going to get in the way of that. I need you guys to understand. All right? So, there's a lot of hard work, and there's a lot of work we have to get done. And the global war, this is going to be the last world war. It's going to be completely staged. We've detailed it. We're not going to have another global war. After this last global war, this World War III. It'll be called Global War instead of World War III, but it'll be the last war. All right, the World War is going to be the last World War. All right. So please don't hate the CIA or Interpol or the United Nations. We need to get certain things out of the way. Okay, so it's going to lead to the abolition of nuclear warfare. I explained how, and a continental military buildup, and it's going to lead to the exponential growth of global society, infrastructural society, global infrastructural society, wealth all over the planet. Okay, so we can work in everything else within the spaces in between.